Production funding for Living Smart with Patricia Gras is underwritten in part by Halliburton.
Can a child do well in school, thrive in relationships, and stay out of trouble when a parent is incarcerated? Learn what this woman did to tackle their problems. Next on Living Smart.
Hello, I'm Patricia Gras. Welcome to Living Smart, the show designed to help you get the most out of life. Today's guest, former parole officer Marilyn Gambrell, shares with us how she stopped the cycle of violence in a tough neighborhood. The subject of a Lifetime movie, Fighting the Odds, Ms. Gambrell formed No More Victims, a support group for children of incarcerated parents, and positively transformed their lives. So have pen and paper ready. We'll be giving you a list of resources at the end of the program.
In May of 1986, former parole officer Marilyn Gambrell visited a client at this apartment complex northeast of Houston. What she saw that day would change her life forever.
Seeing a child beaten as she was holding onto a police officer's leg, trying to hold on really to her mother. They were taking her mother away to arrest her, and it was the grandmother that came over, and she slapped the child and was screaming at the child that she'd had enough problems without her. And then she drug her in the house and slammed the door, and I was frozen because I realized then how many more children were going through the same pain.
Through her work in the community, Marilyn understood the social problems there.
It was my clients on parole then who are one of the main reasons I'm alive today. As they discussed recovery, even though they relapsed, whether it was prostitution, addiction, or violence, as they talked about it, it began to make sense in my life. And I was committed to that community to come back and bring what I could.
It became clear to her that to break the cycle of violence,
This is Marilyn, can I help you?
she had to reach the children in the community.
Yes. I had to go where the children are, and that's in a school setting.
So she went to the neighborhood's MB Smiley High School, where more than 40% of the students have an incarcerated parent, and where criminal and gang activity was a serious problem.
I've been in the system. I'm a product of this neighborhood in North Forest.
Back then, Reginald Spivey was the assistant principal, and he was searching for innovative solutions to the problems in his school.
I've seen a lot of hurting kids. I was looking for a program that can also work with them in that area and also enhance the school's academic and cut down on the disciplinary referrals.
So in 2000, Marilyn and her parole partner established No More Victims, a grassroots organization whose goal was to break the cycle of violence.
Do we know what projecting means?
They started a daily elective course at the school, and the first day, 25 students showed up.
Joseph, you know what that means?
Veronica Rogers is the past president for No More Victims. She joined a year after its inception.
The first question they ask is, who in your family has been incarcerated? And I was like, my mommy and my daddy, and they were like, oh, me too, and I saw this whole class, like 50, 60 kids say me too, and I'm like, wait, I'm not alone?
You're going to have a life and help change this country and save other children? Yes. It's right here, and it's you.
The support group attracted over 500 students in only 5 years, each with a set of serious issues to overcome.
My father has been incarcerated all my life. When I was 7, I was raped by an older cousin of mine, and I buried that deep within myself. You know, I was acting out at school, and I was dealing with so much stress and pain, and I couldn't talk to anybody.
Many of these children wanted to die. They had attempted to take their life several times. They self-mutilate constantly. I just wanted to get the child information about how valid and precious and worthy they were. If they can feel healthier from that one angle, then everything else will fall into place. Wanting to go to school, wanting to graduate, wanting to go to college. But if you want to die, me forcing education down your throat, I'm going to lose every child I have.
According to the U.S. Department of Justice, over 2 million children in America currently have an incarcerated parent. These youngsters are 8 times more likely to end up in prison themselves. With No More Victims, Gambrell wants to stop the cycle of intergenerational crime and imprisonment. So in addition to the safe community environment she built for the children, Gambrell also visits nonviolent prisoners every week so they can better understand the kind of pain these kids suffer.
Hello, my name is Janita. One of my little sisters calls me Mom because usually my mom's not around.
Most children call Gambrell Mom, and she in turn gladly plays that role for them.
When I was little, I was raped the only person I, ever told was Miss Gambrell, because if it wasn't for No More Victims, I would have been dead, because I couldn't take it anymore.
My mama, she was in jail before. For one point, I ain't see her for like 2 years. She ain't called me or nothing. Only time I ever really talked to my mom is when I get in trouble. So from the age of 12 to like 16, I would always get in trouble just so I can see my mama.
The inmates hear the children.
Ready?
And then role-play what could happen in their first visit after getting out of prison.
What do you want?
I just got out
What
and
do
I
you
want to
want?
make it right with mine.
Well, you're not going to do it here.
Everybody deserves a second chance.
What's this, 15 for you? I don't think so.
The reality check in the role-playing appears to impact some of the inmates.
It makes you look at what you've done. And also it can help you reparent yourself and to look at why you did what you did.
During my father's time, he's been incarcerated. I've been molested, shot, stabbed.
These men at Joe Keegan jail find many of the words they hear are painfully familiar.
I think I could just wish for the best, hope that they do come out and hope that we not up here just wasting our time and that they are really taking our pain and our words to the heart.
What's it to you?
The role-playing with this inmate became quite challenging as he confronted two of his children who did not want to see him. In real life, Shannon Stam has 2 daughters. He's been in and out of prison for drug offenses a total of 9 years.
I've done a lot of time in the system. This is the first time that I've seen anything that focused on this, and it's a shame that only 48 guys get a taste of this. It's opened up my eyes tremendously, and it's not only good for the kids, it's good for the dads, but sometimes we don't know what to say, and this helps us to teach us because we don't want the rejection.
Marilyn wants to open those eyes not only in Texas, but all over the world.
Tell me I mean something. Tell me that I matter somewhere in this universe. I'm not just here to be raped or thrown to the side or to raise younger siblings, that I have value. If you tell me that and I believe it, maybe I can do other things.
2 major university studies show No More Victims improves the children's self-esteem, resilience, and GPA, and diminishes delinquent crimes, suicidal behavior, and gang activity.
You could come here and find something that you can't find at home. It's just love and trust and honesty. You know that you have a safe place and no one here is going to hurt you.
It's the home that you never had.
The only reason I stayed alive, the only reason I graduated is because of this program. I had No More Victims. I had Miss Gambrell.
Those have got to be tears of joy.
They are.
You've done such great work.
Thank
you really have. And I guess my first question is, what is it about No More Victims, do you think, that works to help these kids? Because you've been tracking these kids and they're doing better.
Yeah, they're doing fine. Of course, they still continue to struggle with a lot of trauma they've been through. That's why we're a support base for life. It's not like when you graduate from Smiley High School, you're no longer with us. You're only moving on to greater things within the family. And that's what I found has been one of the greatest aspects. It's not over at graduation. It's just beginning, actually, a whole new level of your life with this big family that you have.
How did you know, Marilyn, that just by creating, it's really a regular classroom. You go there once a week and it's a class.
It's every day.
Every day. Why a class and not anything else? What did you know about these kids that made you say, I need to do a class?
I knew to reach the child in great numbers, the best place to do that would be at a school. Not after school, because for high school kids, so many of our kids have to either go to work or go straight home and take care of siblings. A lot of times this child cannot be involved in extracurricular activities because they have so many responsibilities so young. But if I could get it within the school day, and it could be a choice, an option. This has to be voluntary. It can't be a forced issue or it won't work. But if I could go where the numbers were, it would calm the school down. The child would begin to get new healthy information, and it could maybe benefit the whole community, especially this child. And it absolutely worked.
Now, what is it? You're saying information.
It's information that's healing these kids,
Exactly.
healing whole families. What is it? How do you heal these children?
To let them talk.
Okay.
Not tell them how they should act, should think, should feel. How do they think, act, and feel? And they're valid no matter what they do. Their feelings are real no matter what they are. Resentment and hate and anger for someone who's raped you, abandoned you, wounded you, not fed you, not taken you to the doctor, those are real feelings of rage and hurt. And you're supposed to feel those. But to be hit or slapped because you have those feelings and voice them, you learn very quickly that you're not supposed to think or feel. Your feelings aren't worthy of anyone hearing. And in our classroom, you could say anything. We love you no matter what you bring to the table. And that acceptance has been tremendous. And to find out they're not the only child. You're surrounded by many other children, but they've always felt like they were alone. And now they know they're not. There's millions of children. But this child at Smiley High School is given a voice now to children that America has called throwaway children, forgotten ones.
What rings true to them?
Now that they are precious, they know they have power, they know they have a voice, and they're on a mission now to help other children. They want to give back, and it's like this joy you have, this new reality, and you want everybody to know. And they're on a mission from child, parent, sibling, to inmate, whatever it takes.
You've been tracking these kids. You have 2 university studies. You've been tracking the 500 or so kids that have been through the program. What have you found as you track these kids?
They're tremendously less suicidal to no longer suicidal. The cutting and burning self-mutilation, which could continue on into adulthood, drastically reduces or actually stops. That they are more focused now. They do great when they get to college. They have a clear focus. For the kids in our program, a lot of them didn't think they first would live to graduate. First it was live long enough. Then secondary to that was wouldn't graduate anyway. Thirdly, college was never even a thought. That was for other kids to do. Now they're in college, they're in the military, they've received vocational license, and they come back. The kids that are barbers now come back and cut the kids' hair. They give right back. They come every week. So 500 strong. We only get bigger. We only get bigger.
Has the rate of children with incarcerated parents at Smiley gone down?
Well, no, because the parents are still going to prison.
The parents are still doing what they're doing.
But the child we're rerouting that. What it is basically seems to have been understood in America, that you just lock them up. So you build more prisons for them younger because they're going anyway. Our children are not going to prison. We've had 18 of 535 go to prison. What the statistics say is 8 of 10 will go.
That's right. That's right.
And we've only had 18 go, and 14 of those were already on felony probation the day I met them, and were already in the zone.
Right, right.
So I couldn't really impact, or we could not really impact that child to a great degree because of the circumstances they were already in. But it is tremendously deterred, and children that were on probation have successfully completed.
How do you keep, Marilyn, the kids have tremendous problems, as you mentioned, we see in the story. How do you keep the negativity out of the classroom? I mean, you're hearing these horrible stories. These kids are opening up, but they're telling extremely painful stories. How do you say, hey, there's hope?
Just the fact that they were able to say it and be accepted and believed has already begun the healing process, because they don't talk about the pain. They're angry, rejected.
Rejected, but you're there for them. You're kind of like their mom.
Yeah.
You give them hope.
And then the other kids learn to lean on each other, because that's what I wanted, was to teach them within their own community to love and support each other. And now that my older children are the mentors for the younger child, these children don't trust adults. They've been filled in every area of their life by adults. So when children get healthy and realize how powerful they are, and none of this was their fault, after all, they begin to breathe differently. They're amazing mentors.
Do you think, Marilyn, that the program really works because you have created a family for them, like a surrogate family they never had. So they become brothers and sisters. You're the mom. I don't know who the father figure is, but this is where they feel safe.
It's where
which is where the family, the role the family is supposed to play.
Right, right. And you have the older kid, the senior children in the classroom, and the younger children, the freshmen. It's all a blended family of different ages, of course, different races. And everything I was told would not work. Well, I have news for this country. Don't buy into the hype, because I was told that 9th through 12th graders will never survive in the same classroom just because of that difference. Not true. Racially, children that are dealing with this kind of pain and this hurt, 9th through 12th grade, it would never work. Not true. Such diverse beliefs, and so wounded and angry and racially diverse, 9th through 12th. Not true.
You mentioned racially. You're white. Most of the kids are black, Hispanic. What did they learn about race relations through you? What did you learn from them?
What I think they learned from me, they were kind of amazed at first. They thought I had guts. That was the first thing that they liked or that they acknowledged, so give her a shot. So, but as time went on, none of those things mattered. It's when you listen and love and nurture and protect, which means having to, whatever it takes for this child, when they see you have that, it doesn't matter what color you come in. That's a very bonding thing with humanity. And now we have dealt with a lot of racial issues coming at us as a family, but within the family, all is accepted in love.
Now, you're working for No More Victims in that community, but what can the community outside of No More Victims, because maybe they can't drive over there, they can't be part of it, what can the community do to help the situation, kids whose parents are in prison?
Well, one thing is we have a tremendous struggle. A lot of it is because of who our children are. So it's really difficult, we found, to get a lot of support because they're criminals' kids. They're drug addicts' kids. So everything you can imagine we've heard. But we need always financial help, as most nonprofits do. Always we need financial help, because I have over 500 children now and still struggling, barely having what I need to support 100. We need diapers, food, school supplies. We need everything a family would need times 500.
Right.
So we need all the above tutoring. We need that help. And I'm really proud to say that our kids, the majority of our children, all passed their tax test.
That's fantastic.
We are
kudos to them.
And have over 20 children graduating this year, and we just completed interviews for at least 8 scholarships.
Fantastic.
So
now,
they're going on.
Beating the Odds, Lifetime movie, was the most watched movie, right, in the Lifetime network.
Right. Lifetime, yeah.
What did it do to help the kids, to help you? What did you learn from getting that kind of exposure?
What came from it, it totally validated the child, and they knew then how powerful they are. And received emails from every state in America, but what it did was not help coming to us. Hundreds of more people needing our help.
Right.
So we had people that wanted this in their school districts, and the issues that we have seen prevail over and over again is so many school districts, superintendents, or school boards do not want these statistics released. They don't like the image it projects of their community, so they don't want to address it. Not this population. They'll be happy to do just at risk, which is critical, but this child is in a whole different at-risk category, and nobody wants to talk about it. So the pleas for help from children came from all over the country. Our children were emailing the same child. So our children knew how important their voice was, and it was validated around the country.
You have to have a lot of courage to do what you do. And I know you had an instance where you could have lost your life. Tell me what happened and how you dealt with it, and when a child put a gun in your face.
That was a very painful day. The kids came and got me and told me that a child who was not one of the No More Victims family, but I had met this child, and 3 weeks earlier he had asked me about helping him with his newborn, and the the teen mother had attempted suicide twice, and the baby was possibly going to be taken at birth, but he wanted his child, and his father had been in prison his whole life. And I told him I would help him with diapers, going to the doctor. I would teach him parenting skills, and he was very positive about that. And this particular day, one of my own children, it was gang involved, it was gang related, and they began to be at odds with each other, and it got to the point where the child with the baby on the way had pulled a gun in front of our office on the other child, who continued to aggravate the situation. Well, the kids came and got me, and I knew, and I climbed over my desk to get out the door, and I wasn't blindly running outside like I was hysterical.
Right. You knew what you were doing.
I knew what I was doing, and I knew what I had to do. Then I just threw open the door and walked directly between the guns. And the child had two guns. He had one aimed now at my head and one at my stomach, and he was trembling while the other child continued to aggravate the situation behind me. And I moved. Every step he took, I moved. I was literally dancing to protect the child behind me, and I pleaded with the child with the guns to please. He said, "Do you want to go to prison like your daddy? And your baby was being raped, and all the pain we've all been through, with no more victims for this child?" And he was crying, and he said, "I don't want to shoot you, Miss Gambrell, but I'll shoot through you." And I said, "Son, please, we have a baby on the way." And at that point, the child behind me was being dragged away, which helped tremendously. But the child put both guns in one hand, and he asked me to take him away. The kids were screaming. There was 25 children watching this through the glass window, and they threw my keys outside, and I drove away with this child.
And you talked to him, and
we began to calm down. But my kids, my cell phone was in the office, so now they just see me driving away.
Right, so they're afraid.
And
for
the
you.
third gun came out in the car, so there were actually 3 guns that day.
Amazing.
But it was this unborn baby that saved my life.
Unbelievable.
It was an unborn little girl.
Marilyn, how do you know you're living smart?
Because I breathe different than I used to breathe when I wasn't actually emotionally healthy. And I have learned to address the pain that I'm in and talk about it. Crying is something I wish that I could stop, but it seems to probably save my life, and I have no control over it. But I'm surrounded by so much pain and rage every day that I understand that that is probably why I'm alive. It's a constant release that I have no power over.
Right.
But it's helped me just focus on the issues that I thought I had addressed. Now I know that I haven't, and I had to work even harder and go deeper. So just keeping things clean and honest and clear, and teaching my kids to do that this young. If I had known that this young, my life would have been different.
Right, you would have made different choices. You are taking the kids to prison, and they get to speak to the prisoners. We don't know what happens to those prisoners, if it has an impact. It seems to have an impact.
Right.
But most importantly, what does it do for your children?
The child who goes in, it's scary, but every one of them wants to go. And once they go in and they see all these fathers and mothers in prison, one painful thing that I've watched them do is they'll search through the faces to see if it's their mother, their father, and some of them have never seen that parent or haven't seen them in years. So, and they'll say, does she look like me? And they'll point someone out. And I say, well, let's find out her name. You know, so that's one thing that seems to be automatic. We don't talk about it, it just happens. But when they get to say how it feels to live like this and how people treat you, and when no one's really there to protect you or support you, or you're just one of several living in a home, maybe with a grandparent who's already overwhelmed, how those things feel. And then when we role play, they act out the rage, and we educate the parent on what to prepare themselves for, because it is surely a relapse trigger to come out as a parent in recovery who wants to practice parenting, and now your child absolutely resents you and rejects you at the minute you open the door. It's a relapse trigger. So how do we cope with that so we don't relapse?
Right.
It's a win-win for everybody.
And on that note, it's a win-win for everybody. Thank you, Marilyn Gambrell. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for coming here and being with us.
Thank you.
And for more information on No More Victims, you can call 713-807-8287. That's 713-807-8287. Or check their website, NMVI, that's No More Victims Information, .info, nmvi.info. Another website for adults interested in youth violence prevention. You can call the National Violence Youth Prevention Resource Center at 1-866-SAFE-YOUTH. That's 1-866-723-3968. Or check safeyouth.org. Please remember to visit our website, houstonpbs.org/livingsmart, for a complete resource list. And you can call us with your comments at 713-743-8513 or email livingsmart@houstonpbs.org. And that's our show for today. We hope you've learned what you can do to break the cycle of violence. Be sure to tune in to our next episode with Feng Shui Master Lam Quan, who will help us find harmony at home and work, applying the classical Feng Shui tradition. I'm Patricia Gras. Have a fabulous week.